2020. It's just disappearing, especially if you have kids or just simply have a lot going on. It's crazy, 2020. But what I figured is maybe you'd like to know what I'm carrying in my camera bag in 2020, or at least to start 2020 off. Really insightful to see what people are using on a daily basis and hear their explanations behind it. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna show you what's in my camera bag and I'm gonna tell you why I'm using it. We'll start out with the big guns, and the first big gun is my main camera for photography. It's the Canon EOS R. I purchased this in 2019 and I was a little skeptical on doing it, but I really didn't want to wait for the professional model EOS R that's supposed to come out sometime soon. It's going to be higher megapixel and that's going to be perfect for photography, but I needed something now. I was shooting with the Canon 80D. The camera's actually a little bit bigger because it's a DSLR and the Canon EOS R is mirrorless. This is a great camera, don't get me wrong. I don't have really any complaints about this camera. It just, I kind of outgrew it. And that's, the reason I decided that I needed to upgrade. And then the timing of that upgrade, like I said, because the EOS Professional R isn't out yet, I made that in 2019 because I had several big trips lined up, one to the Adirondacks, one to Zion National Park, and a couple others, and I just wanted to make sure I was shooting the best photography I could shoot. So my thoughts about the Canon EOS R? Don't let people lie to you guys. Gear matters. That's my main point when comparing this to the Canon 80D. I was used to using the Canon 80D for about 3 years or so, and that's for stills photography, and I was doing some video with it, but it's a little heavy for video. When I started shooting with the EOS R, it was immediate that I was absolutely shocked. The clarity of the pictures, the detail in the pictures, the dynamic range. Gear matters. I don't care what anyone says or why they're trying to pitch you on why gear doesn't matter. Gear matters, believe it. And you can see that I have the Really Right Stuff L bracket. L bracket allows you to take the camera on a tripod and go from regular landscape to vertical almost instantly. And it's a great design typically. The problem is this one's not so much because Canon has, on most of their better cameras, they have a flip out screen. And so if you're looking at it, you can flip it out, you can turn it around, but you see what I'm running into here? They go pretty much any direction you want them to until you put this L bracket on. And when you put this L bracket on and you fold the LCD screen all the way out, it doesn't move because it's right up against the L bracket. And so it doesn't sound so bad, right? You're like, whatever, I don't need that. The problem is typically in landscape photography, you're low to the ground. And so if you're using the screen like this, it's lower than your head is. So you're either crouched down a whole lot or you're on your belly trying to look at the screen. It doesn't work well like that. So then you just flip it out, right? Well, you got it flipped out, but then it's the same thing. You can't tilt it up or down because the top and the bottom are against the L bracket. So it's just a little bit of a design flaw to me. Really Right Stuff makes a lot of great products, and I still have the L bracket on, but I'm not a big fan of it. And I've researched and I can't find anyone that has an L bracket that's any better. Jim Day. That's my lens. And I have the Canon RF 28-70. It is an amazing lens. It's sharp all the way through, and it's f2 all the way through. It's an amazing lens, and it takes incredible photographs. I think the lens is one of the major parts of any stills photography setup, and I wanted to put some good money into this lens to make sure I had great pictures. I wasn't, however, anticipating the weight. And for a hiker, the lens is incredible for photography and horrible for hiking. And unfortunately, I blend those two together all the time. So that sucks. And it's literally just for stills photography. And there's not a whole lot I can do about that. You know, I've looked at other lens options, but I shoot 90% of my photographs within 24 to 70. And this one's 28 to 70. It covers all of that. It's just a really, really heavy lens. I'm kind of stuck with this setup for right now, although I'm not the happiest with it. This would be a perfect setup if you're traveling around, out of the back of your truck or your car or whatever. But when you got this in your bag on your back, it takes its toll on you. And the other reason it takes its toll on me is because in my bag is also the camera that I'm recording with, which is the Panasonic GH5. Love the camera. It does, great things when it comes to video. It allows me to get all the frame rates that I want, shoot in 4K. It's just a wonderful camera, except maybe the autofocus. The autofocus would be the one downfall. It's just not as good as Canon's, and I'm spoiled with the Canon platform when it comes to autofocus. So this is what I used to use for, videotaping myself out in the field, this Joby GorillaPod, but the problem is the camera kept falling. I can't have my camera susceptible to falling. There's, this stuff costs too much money. So, whenever, and this is just simple setups, like I'm just trying to set it in a tripod orientation, so I can get a shot of me walking by it, and next thing you know, camera falls. It's like, come on. And I'm not using the Canon camera with a big heavy lens. I'm using the GH5, which is a mirrorless camera as well, but a very small lens. It's a 12 to 35, and it's a light lens. It's a small lens. There's no reason why that GorillaPod should be falling over all the time, or, when you wrap it around something, sometimes it'll hold, sometimes it won't. I can't risk that. It's too much money, so I went with this guy. This is what I use. It's my Gitzo little mini tripod, and I love this thing. I can hold it out here and have pretty good control of it without looking like I'm got my arm out so far. In the vlog setup, you always have your arm out, but with some tripods you have to, you just see it in the video. And if you have one like this, you don't. You can kind of keep your arm just bent a little bit. It's more comfortable, and this thing stays. When I put these legs out, it stays. It doesn't go anywhere. Little twisty apparatus here. You twist that, and the ball head moves. Twist it back, and it locks it down. And there's no plates. You just screw it directly onto the camera. So my bag itself is F-Stopper's Anya bag. It's been a pretty good bag. It's got the back flap so that you can zip it down. And then they make these dividers so that you can set it up any way that you want to. I gotta tell you, I prefer the ones that are built into the bag a little better when it comes to actually using this on a day-to-day basis. However, the flexibility to change this up and meet whatever equipment needs that I have for whatever that trip is cool. So I like that. But it's, in my opinion, it's just it just feels a little bit unorganized. There's not a whole lot of organized storage, in my opinion. Now, I've been using this bag for 3 years, and it's heavy duty. It definitely takes a beating. I just washed it for the first time, and it made out fine. It's got pockets on the side. It's just kind of, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of it. Pockets on this side, but there's just not a whole lot of other storage areas. So you're just kind of stuck with throwing everything in the bag. You got one little zipper pouch there, and there's a couple little places like that, but there's not a whole lot of organization. And when you're out in the field or you're on a hike, you want to know where everything is and be able to get to it easily. So what I did is I ordered Peter McKinnon's bag, the everyday backpack that he's releasing hopefully in April or so. And and then I'll be switching my bag up. My regular photography tripod is this Gitzo, and I love this thing because it's lightweight. So when I take this on a plane or I'm hiking with this thing, it folds up very, very small, and it's lightweight. It's carbon fiber. The head is a matching head. It's a really wonderful tripod. I love this thing. It is the best tripod that I've ever had. It's the Gitzo GT0545T, and definitely one of the best purchases I've made in order to keep the weight of my bag on my back down. And it'll also fit inside of most bags. You know, when you fold it up and you go to put it in, say, your carry-on or just, you know, whatever bag you're using, it folds up real small. I mean, you see that. You can fit that in just about any place that you have. Primary microphone is my Rode Video Mic Pro, and I actually just started using this. This thing it fixes almost all the problems that I've had with microphones. You know, you may not get good sound if it's a shotgun mic like this, but what you need to remember is just stay a little bit closer to the camera. If you're gonna go away from the camera a lot, you need something like this, which is my backup microphone. It's the Rode system, their wireless mic Go. I like that microphone setup, but the problem is always finding a place to put this can be a little bit tricky. So I like this, and let me tell you the number one thing they did, number one problem they fixed when they made this, and that is it put a rechargeable battery in it, and it runs off the camera's power. So you don't have to remember to turn the microphone on and off. When you turn the camera on and it's plugged into the camera, the mic comes on automatically and goes off automatically. Who would have thought? I mean, that's what anyone that's ever done video work with microphones, that's what all of us are like, why can't someone make something like this? It's so simple. Rode did it. Great job. My GoPro Hero 7. It's been a nice GoPro. Very happy with the results of this GoPro. It's nice, buttery, smooth footage. And you know, it allows me to get some creative shots sometimes. So I always keep this in my bag just in case. And I keep it with this. So the GoPro goes up here when it's in its housing, and you can clamp this onto anything. And this kind of moves, but it's not like the GorillaPod. It's sturdy, and you just have a GoPro on it. So I love that setup. I can, you know, when I'm hiking in the forest, I can just, you know, clamp that onto a tree or whatever and get myself walking by. Excellent, excellent setup. For my drone, I'm using the DJI Mavic Pro, and I've been using this basically since it came out. And I have the controller in a separate case. Love this drone. It does great work. It's reliable. You know, it takes wonderful footage, and it's reliable. That's like the most important thing. You can trust that it's going to do what you want it to do when you want it to do it, for the most part. Sometimes it's a little glitchy. They've pretty much stopped doing these updates, in my experience, where they force you to update before you can fly. That was a big pain in the neck for a while, but now it's very, very nice. And I know the Mavic Pro 2 is out, but I think I'm gonna skip a series of releases and maybe update on the next one, because it's a great drone. This is my think tank pouch for my extra batteries for my cameras. Always have to carry extra batteries. I learned that when I went to Minneapolis. I took 2 batteries, one in the camera and one stored away. And what happened was the one that was stored away was bad. And so then I was stuck. I didn't realize it until my first battery had died. So now I'm scrambling, trying to find a store that has, the batteries, and it cost a bunch of money that, I probably needed the battery anyway. But, it's like, you don't want to get in that panic situation. You want to trust what you have is what you need. Speaking of trusting what you have and, it performing when you need it, this Samsung external hard drive. It is a T5 portable SSD, and this allows me to work mobily. So if I'm traveling, I can put whatever I need. In fact, what I do is all my editing files. So, you know, it's my intro, my outro, my, you know, lower third stuff, all my settings and things I keep, my music, all on here. And so I'll just update that and sync that with that same folder that's on my computer before I go anywhere. And this thing's super fast. It's USB-C, and you know, it just works great with my MacBook Pro because they both have the same connection, and it's a really nice drive. My peak design everything bag is what I call it. This has everything in it. It's got ND filters, it's got, you know, cleaning things, wipes, drone feet. What is this? Arsenal. Anybody try that? Arsenal? Saw the ad for it on Facebook or somewhere, purchased it. Not been the best experience, but I keep it in there in case I ever want to try to fool with it some more when I'm in the field. You see this ND filter? Look at that thing. That is a 95 millimeter for my Canon EOS R with that gigantic lens. Look at that. That's crazy. ND filters for the drone. Little foldable, little multi-tool thing there. And miscellaneous cables and all that kind of stuff. So it's my everything bag, and typically saves me whenever I need something. It's usually in here if it's not on my person. I always keep a headlamp on me because it's just so much easier to use one of these when you're shooting in the dark, or if you get stuck in the dark when you're hiking or something. It's just a wonderful, wonderful, you know, item to have. It's allows things to run just a lot smoother when you're doing photography and videography in the field. This is my aperture little mini light here. I just love this thing. It's got a diffuser on it that's magnetic, so there's no clamping or screwing or anything like that. It's just magnetic, you know? It's just simple, it works, and this thing is bright as you can imagine. That's just regular. Then they have one called Booster. Look at that. That's crazy. Booster. Now, if you're running the oh, I forgot you can change the color tone. You make it colder or warmer. Not sure how much that's coming through on the camera. But when you're running it on Booster, it goes for like 20 seconds and then it turns back to regular automatically. That kind of stinks. There's a few times where I'm wanting it to stay on that you know, real bright setting for longer than that, but it kills the battery pretty good when it's on Booster. You're only gonna get like, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes or so if you run it on Booster constantly. Every time it turns off, you turn it back on. But you're gonna get, well, the longest I've done it is about 25 minutes on regular, and it still had some battery left. It's got a little LED lights here to tell you if you have 1, 2, 3, or 4 battery, you know, levels left. Love this. This is great for product photography or highlighting something when you're doing video. It's so convenient and it's powerful. It's just a really good light. Aperture makes some good stuff. That's all the stuff I keep in my bag. It's a struggle when you do a lot of hiking with photography because the better things are, the heavier they are. And you know, you're always balancing quality versus efficiency when it comes to weight. Some things you just have to go light. Some things you just have to go heavy. My camera lens is the #1 thing. As Canon continues to put out lenses for the EOS R, I'm hoping they're gonna come out with an RF lens that is a little more practical for me. And I don't know, you know, we'll see how it goes. But at the end of the day, if you're in these incredible places and you're putting all this effort into getting there, you don't want to sacrifice quality for the lens. And you know, I did get the Canon EOS R. It's lighter than the 80D, and you know, I'm trying to get everything else lighter the best that I can. Oh, I forgot about my Goal Zero power bank. Man, this thing's awesome. So it has a light on the front. Comes with the cable right on the side. And so this one is for your regular, this is like your USB micro. And then it has the USB, the Apple Lightning port. Several places to plug things in. And you just charge it with a USB-C mini port right there in the middle. So, you know, this is a little bit heavy. I have a lighter one that I take whenever I'm definitely, you know, being very weight conscious. But this Venture 70, this will recharge my MacBook Pro several times. It'll recharge your cell phone several times. It'll recharge all of my gear for the most part, and several times, which is really important because you can kind of count on this. Now, I have not had this in the really brutal cold. That's a big test when it comes to any lithium battery, because when you're in severe cold, I went on a hike in the Adirondacks, got to the top of the mountain, and like everything I had started dying just systematically. First it was my phone, then it was the GoPro, then it was the camera I was taking video on, then it was the Canon EOS R. All the batteries were dying. You know, you don't want that. You don't want to get to the top of the mountain and everything dies. So having a power bank is really important to recharge your stuff and make sure that you have additional power if you need it. Whew, that was a long one. 2020, guys. I think it's gonna be an awesome year. I really do. I think, you know, the economy's great and there's a lot of new products coming out. It's gonna be a great year, and we need to embrace it because not every year is gonna be like that. You know, some years are good years, some years are great years, some years not so much. And we need to enjoy the good ones. I look forward to what 2020 has in store for us. I really appreciate you supporting the channel, watching the video. Hopefully you got something out of it. I know for me, whenever I watch videos like this, sometimes it could be a moment where you're like, no way, I never even thought about that, or I didn't know that was out there, or, you know, whatever. And it's just nice to see what other people do and their reasoning for, you know, why they have it in their bag, and, you know, what they use it for, what they do with it. I've seen some videos where people are really creative with this stuff. So hopefully you got something out of my video. I appreciate it if you liked the video. If you enjoyed it, down below, share it with your family and friends. That would help me a lot. And I can't wait to see you on the next video.